The herbal fragrance of bay leaves travels far. Following the whiff, you pick up the salty, sour aromas of vinegar and soy sauce. Next, you catch the savory smell of glazed chicken. Then, the bouquet of garlic with sharp notes of peppercorn. There is no doubt someone is cooking adobo. The original name of the dish is forever lost beneath 3 centuries of Spanish colonial history. While the Filipino dish is known by a moniker given by colonizers, the core of the dish and its essential ingredients predate Spanish occupation. In Spain, the word adobo refers to a pickling sauce made from cooking together olive oil, vinegar, garlic, thyme, laurel, oregano, paprika, and salt. This is related to the Mexican adobado, which is a meat dish stewed in a spiced or flavored broth. From this, we can see why the Spanish called our dish adobo. Filipino adobo is chicken or pork, squid, or even kangkong, stewed in vinegar, garlic, bay leaves, peppercorns, and, thanks to a Chinese influence, soy sauce. These ingredients form the shared formula from which the myriad adobos of the Philippines' different regions all arise. To this formula, each region adds their own local ingredients, and thus their own local expressions are born. And to talk more about the variations of adobo, I talked with food writer and reporter Betty Ann Quirino. You can find her easy-to-follow recipes on thequirinokitchen.com, and you can find her books online.
I have 3 cookbooks: How to Cook Philippine Desserts, My Mother's Philippine Recipes, and Instant Filipino Food. And I hope this year to publish my 4th book. It's a food memoir with Filipino recipes, and it's entitled Every Ounce of Courage.
Stick around as we talked about adobo.
I've been told when I'm cooking, they can smell it in the next few houses.
And she shared with me some great tips on how to reconnect with our heritage.
The only way we can succeed in creating awareness about our culture and food is to love ourselves first.
Let's get started. Hi, Miss Betty Ann.
And hello to everyone who's watched.
So one adobo recipe is somewhat argued to be like the original recipe. It's Adobong Puti.
Or in our province, Tarlac, and nearby Pampanga, it's referred to as Adobong Puti, is essentially adobo without soy sauce, with no toyo. Delicious in its simplicity. It was often cooked by my mother because it was a favorite adobo version of my father. In fact, we're having Adobong Puti tonight because I kitchen tested the recipe a few days before. And adobo is best enjoyed a day or 2 after you cook it because you let the vinegar flavor set in.
Another interesting adobo recipe I read is Adobong Tarlac.
I'm from Tarlac. That's where I was raised. That's where I grew up. I really don't know the origins of Adobong Tarlac, except that I've seen it more frequently cooked and served during a town fiesta, which is January 20, the feast of San Sebastian. Adobong Tarlac is basically adobo with vinegar and soy sauce, and pineapple cubes are added.
Your essay, 100 Mangoes in a Bottle, is about this wonderful childhood memory, as well as regret of never getting your mother's mango jam recipe. How do you see a younger generation, like the 2nd and 3rd generation, learning to reconnect with their Filipino heritage?
When there was no internet, and there were only 3 channels on TV, no cable yet, and there was nothing else to do but help out in the kitchen. And one of the major things we will do was to make mango jam because my father was a farmer and we had a mango orchard. And it was one of my fondest memories. So when I came to the States, I missed it. I told my writing teacher I was about to write about the process of making mango jam, but sadly I can't. That I forgot to ask my mother for the recipe. It's one of those things that you take for granted, and you always think there's always going to be a jar of mango jam on the shelf for you, and you don't realize that until you get to be my age and an adult. There's so many of us and so many in your generation and even younger who have that kind of regret, and you blame yourself for never asking. Or there's also that part where the older generation likes to keep family recipes a secret, but there's a way around it. Now, after writing 100 mangoes in a bottle, I was able to figure out the recipe eventually, and I was also able to process in my life how to figure out a lot of other recipes I wanted to ask. I'd like to share that now with the listeners. One way to figure that out is, first of all, when you're in the kitchen, try to maybe help in the kitchen. Well, don't ask right away, well, what's the recipe? Ask in a nice way, what goes into this adobo you made or this lumpia you just made, ask in a nice way. And if they still want to keep it a secret, then there's another way. There's you, and all your five senses, what they put in it, and then practice cooking the recipe. If you make a mistake and you make a mess, then that's okay. Do it again and again and again. I love to promote our food and our culture and our history, and I think for the rest of us, the only way we can succeed in creating awareness about our culture and food is to love ourselves first, in where you came from and who you are. That's so basic, I think.
Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to click on the like button and subscribe to our channel as we celebrate true Filipino goodness.